Welcome to Witches and Prose podcast. My name is Haley, author of Fury and Flame, book 1 of the Witching Hour series that will be available this September. I have with me today the lovely author MJ Klipfel, who is coming out with Blood Promotion, which will be out July 19th. It is now up for pre-order on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, pretty much anywhere where books are sold. So yes, hi, welcome to the podcast. I'm so glad to have you on here.
Yes, thank you for having me.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself? What do you do? Is this, do you write full time? Is this just a side thing, a hobby? Are you doing this?
Yeah.
No.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I love writing. It's like been a part of my life since I could write. So during the day, I am a yoga teacher as well as a teacher. And then I switch gears once the sun sets, and then that's my writing time. So that's when I'm doing all the writing. So yes, a little bit of everything.
That is cool. That is great. I love that. And I love on TikTok, I see all your yoga videos. I love how you incorporate that into like your writing. That's amazing. So
yes.
Cool. So, okay, tell us a little bit about Blood Promotion.
Yeah, so Blood Promotion is a paranormal romance that follows the main character, who is Tessa Sanders. She's a reporter. She's sassy. She's kind of coming into her own in this book. So she's finally like, I'm done being the, just sitting back and letting things happen. I'm going to be active. And then that kind of bites her. Ooh, ha, ha, ha. So it's Blood Promotion is book 1 in the series called Cross Souls. Okay. So yes, it's very exciting. It was fun to write. So yes.
That is exciting. Do you have, so I saw in your author bio, you talk about writing books where the villain gets the girl. And I absolutely love that. So can you kind of explain what drew you to writing the villains and the villain getting the girl?
Yes. So I love the morally gray characters. So the ones that are so, they're not afraid to give or receive what they want. And there was a quote that's going around where it's like, if you fall in love with a hero, he'll sacrifice you to do the well-being. But if you get for the villain, he's going to sacrifice everything for you. And that's just like,
right.
Yes. So I have that kind of dynamic in the story where there's, someone who's like, yes. And then there's that morally and it's yes. So I definitely explore that area.
I love that. I'm definitely more of a villain girl myself. Yes. So I can appreciate a really good morally gray villain who.
Yes.
Yes. I love that. Okay, so what inspired Blood Promotion and the series?
Yes, so I actually used to be a reporter.
Oh, that's exciting.
And so, yes, and so I was always like that passive, like trying to get into the industry, crack into it. And just one time I might have hidden in a bush to get a main story. And that kind of catapulted my love for the paranormal, vampires and werewolves. And I'm like, if we could blend it and merge it. So a lot of, because I read a lot too. So like J.R. Ward, Laura K. Hamilton, these amazing, powerful women writing these stories with these, not just amazing plots, but this like romance that makes you feel.
Yes.
And you have this mystery too. You're trying to solve at the same time. It's mind blowing. So I'm like, I got to do it. So awesome. Yes.
That is amazing. Let's see. Okay, so tell us a little bit about your writing journey. When did it all start? When did that spark hit you?
Yeah, so just for fun, as a kid, I've always had this wild imagination. So, I'd be writing stories and the teacher's like, we're not talking about that. You need to get on the page. And so I kind of like, all right. And then I'm like, well, why don't I go ahead and start reporting and I can write stories? But then I'm like, I don't want to stick to the truth. I kind of like to blend the fantasy. And then just for a whim, I had a break after an injury and I was like, hey, and I'm like, I want a story. And I'm like, well, I don't read it anywhere. I'm going to just start writing it. So I kind of had to teach myself and I learned the hard way a lot. But yeah, so I decided I want to write. a badass female character, you know, and that's where it started love, and then adding in the villains and adding another villain and another villain, and yeah.
I love that. That is very exciting. I love, as somebody who I have had many, many injuries, and that downtime after it, you always, you know, that's when my best ideas spark, is time. So, okay. So since it is a romance, is there spice, steam, and how steamy?
Oh, yes. Yes. So there's definitely spice. So the story is very plot driven, but without the spice, it needs it. Okay. So from the publisher, it's rated on a level of 1 to 3 as a 2. So intense, burning, pulse pounding action, and it's blended together. Okay. So I do give you a little bit of breathing between the simmer. Mm-hmm. So as for, is it, you know, close the door, or is it graphic? You're definitely going to see it. So the scenes, and yeah, so there's definitely a lot of, spice, definitely some spice.
Awesome. That's very exciting. Okay, so what is your writing process like? Do you do more character driven, more plot driven, plotter, pantser?
I'm a pantser. If I had a crown, I'd put it on with pants on it. So yes, I do like, I do usually start with knowing the story's beginning and the end. Mm-hmm. And then I kind of build onto it. When I'm drafting, I'm terrible. I call it like a soup. Like I'll write the chapter and then I have to edit it. And then I write the next chapter and then I edit it. So I guess I'm not like a strict pantser. So maybe a yoga pantser. Like I have like a form-fitting kind of idea.
Not like fitting bell bottoms.
Yeah, I kind of like stuff it all in. But yeah, and then when I go through the revision process, that's the perfectionist in me, that I try to like make everything so perfect, and then I get angry at myself and end up like revising 6 million times. But I definitely like to start with the characters first, because I think that's really important to have a solid character to really make you feel for them before you start putting them through all hells. Yeah. Because if we give this huge, but we don't connect with them, then it's, you know, you don't get the feelings when we get into the spicy scenes, right? Because it's like, oh yeah, they had to put that in there. You know, it's like, yeah. So
right? You're like, yeah, more.
Exactly.
I totally feel it. Characters are definitely, I will always take like a weaker plot with amazing characters in it than than a really strong plot with weak characters. So
yes,
are on point. So is this your first novel, or do you have any others that are, you know, published, not published? And
yeah, this is my first one going into publication. So I've written a few like what they call flash fiction pieces that have been published in magazines towards horror. Okay. So Lamplight magazine is a literary magazine, so they've published a few of my flash fictions, but this is the first time that I was able to really develop and go through the whole novel experience, from writing it to screaming at it to cursing it, to then getting the chance, meeting other creators and bringing it to, you know, to the querying stages and submissions. And now book 2 is just right around getting ready to go into submission. So
that's super exciting.
Yes.
That's amazing. Okay. So let's see. Do you have a favorite character in Blood Promotion?
Oh my God, there's so many. But I'd have to say, like, one of my favorite secondary characters has to be Nathaniel, because he's just a straight bad dude. Like, but he has such flair, and he's so vivid, and there's no holding back with this guy. Like, he just kind of says it who it is. He calls you out for it. And he has like that really, like, this, he's just so dynamic. So I like to say, if people are like, if they put like a brain, like, who would he be? He'd be sort of like a mix, a blend between Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer and like Eric from the True Blood series. Like, he's just that, like, take it how it is. And then of course, we've got the main character, Tessa Sanders, who's just like trying to, it's like, this is her origin story, how she became who she is in the story. And then she has, you know, the love interests, plural, that are on her side. So yes, see, still spice. But yes, yeah. So then there's Derek, who kind of catapults her into this world, and then Sam, who's always been a friend, then she finds out about a big secret. So yes, it's that whole hero versus villain, but then Nathaniel's just muckraking all over on the sidelines, which he's just amazing.
He sounds super exciting. Actually, they all really sound amazing. I love a good morally gray character, so
yes,
they all sound right up my alley.
mm-hmm.
Do you have a favorite quote you could possibly share with us from the book?
I do. I was like, who do I go with? Because it's so hard. But I'd have to say, coming from Tessa, not to give off too much of the plot, but one of the quotes that she says is, because a lot of times in her story is people telling her what to do, and she has to kind of, until she kind of starts to wrangle it. So this is like a thing where she says, staying alive, easier said than done. And that kind of catapults her into what's about ready to happen. Yeah.
I like that a lot. Well, I think we are done with all of the questions for today. So fun talking to you. I'm very excited about promotion. Again, it's on pre-order right now. It'll be out July 19th. Thank you so much for being on today. It was awesome talking and chatting about your book and learning about characters and all that.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Of course. And thank you guys again for watching Riches and Prose podcast. I'm Haley, and I really just had so much fun today.